views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
A journey through the seen and unseen, the accepted and the unbelievable. Get ready to meet the maximum you the world needs on Maximum Medicine Radio with Doc Martin now.
Hey everybody, I'm Dr. Pat, and I get to do this fabulous show, introduce it to all of you, Maximum Medicine Radio with Dr. Sharon Martin, bridging the mystical and the scientific for healing. Doc Martin, as we like to call her, but today we're going to call her a whole lot more. And the reason we're doing that is because she is someone that is so fully committed to not just helping us understand, that there is a bridge between mystical and scientific, but that bridge, very specifically, that bridge is the gateway for maximum healing. Today's show, and the show you're going to hear with her on a regular basis, Maximum Medicine Radio, is much more than whatever you think it is. What I love about what I'm doing is that every day I work with a great team of people and we discover folks that are out there in the world, and we want to help their message, their beliefs, their healing, their gifts, their talents reach all of you. Whether you're listening to this show from our new affiliate in India or in our own backyard here in the Pacific Northwest, all of the above means one thing and one thing for sure. In 15 years, we have been committed to creating a better world, to raising the vibration and helping people live life full out. Today, you're going to hear from somebody that not only talks about it, but lives it every day of our life. As Doc Martin would say, we need to expand our consciousness, deepen our respect for Earth, and dream bigger in order to not only survive, but thrive. Her soul's mission is to awaken that deep purpose and heighten my capacity as a human being to help others do the same. Wow. Doc Martin, Yahoo for us.
That does sound like a tall order, doesn't it?
What do they say? That's a tall glass of water, right?
Long, tall glass of water. Yeah.
Right. It is, but this really opens up the conversation for many conversations we're going to have. And what I mean by that is it opens up the conversation for us to really look at what your commitment has been for decades and match that up against an ever-changing world that is now so ready, so willing to hear it. So today's show is who and what is Maximum Medicine Radio. And let's talk about that. Besides that very brief introduction that I gave you, let me ask you a question that I ask everyone. Clearly, you have so many credentials, and we're going to talk about them. But the real question is, what is it about your life journey? What is it about all that you've done? Every bit of education that you've gotten, all the workshops, the sharing, the teaching that you're doing with others. What about all of that? What are the challenges, all of the above, that you've had to overcome despite having astonishing accomplishments? What are those challenges that you had to overcome to bring you to this very moment?
So, yes, there were steps in the academic ladder, and there were credentials to be gained and titles and all of that. But it didn't really become full for me and open my eyes to be able to see it bigger until I stopped letting go of my lack of self-doubt. When I got the whispers of intuition, I got the things that I would say were actually messages from situations around me, from encounters that afterwards I would reflect and say, wait a second, something's really going on here. And listen to that inner voice, listen to the little voice that we've squished for so long, and let go of the doubt and say, why not? And step into it. And I think that's the possibility for everyone. We all have unimaginable potential. But we have to shake all of that belief system that was literally kept us in a box, shake it off, follow the intuition, and be willing to be courageous enough to take a step. Take one little step, and then it feels so good you take another. So I think those are the challenges, were the inner barriers I had for myself.
I love the way you answered that, because it really does open up the door for us to talk about that and much more. And one of the areas that I want to talk about and start with is this idea that we go on a journey, right? You and I, we decide at some level we're going to either go back to school, or we're going to study something, or we're going to tap into what our life's purpose and passion is. But somewhere along the way, right? Somewhere along the way, we don't realize that the courses we're taking, the credentials we're taking, the education, I never thought in a million years that me going back to school, to get a PhD, which was supposed to be for me to get this big fat consulting job, right? In the corporate world, never thought in a million years that journey would have nothing to do with that, and everything to do with a term of endearment that the listeners coined for me. Never thought. But here we are. What did you think as you started to take this journey? Because more than all of the academic accomplishments that perhaps both of us have, something about you and something about me pointed us in a direction to say, wait a minute, I'm Doc Martin, and I am going to be a graduate of Healing Light Body course, 4 wins. Dr. Albert, I'm going to be that too. What happened for you?
I think many things, but I'll share 2 stories with you, if I may, because they kind of are indicative of what everybody has around them, if you just listen. And I probably shared this with you once before, but when I was finishing graduate school and I went to a fellowship in San Diego, I broke up with the guy I was dating. I was unbelievably depressed and couldn't get out of there soon enough. So I got a job with an old colleague in Atlanta teaching at Emory University. And I started therapy, because I don't know how many of you guys have ever struggled, but when you're down, you need some help. Yeah. So I had this amazing psychiatrist who was amazing in the fact that he never said anything. He never steered me. He listened. And that was the power of him. I should just a compliment to him. But one day he stopped and he put his pencil down and he said, I want you to apply to medical school. Well, that totally blew me out of the water, because he never said anything, and he would certainly never tell you what to do. Not ever. So when he said that, then I had all these barriers. I'm not smart enough. I'll never get in. I'm too old. I'll flunk anatomy when I go to school. And yet I thought to myself, here is somebody who believed in me. If they believe in me from the outside, why can't I believe in me from the inside? And I applied and I got in. And that was one of those little moments where you interact with somebody or something and boom, it changes. And so those kinds of little whispers we have to listen to, because I was ready to see myself as in a box and not capable. And he poked a hole in that and said, I believe in you. And if somebody who doesn't even know you as well as most of my family did says that, then you gotta believe it. You gotta take it.
Yeah. I love this, because this is part now of not only what you do, but you and I both have had angels in our lives, perhaps recommending some things that we would have never thought about for ourselves, right?
Right.
Someone that saw something in us that perhaps we could not yet realize in seeing for ourselves, right?
Right.
I want to ask you, because I've had so many epiphanies, especially around discovering who I am, and I'm still working on that. Do you recall, outside of that experience, did you ever have one of these times where you somehow looked yourself in the mirror and was unrecognizable? And what I mean by that, for a minute, is I remember one day after a 24 and a half, almost 25-year career in the phone company, waking up one day, getting dressed for work, as I always do, getting ready to get in a car, looked in the mirror in the foyer on the way out of the house, looked at myself and didn't recognize myself. I didn't recognize this person that had so inspired to do good things in the world. I didn't recognize myself for what I was about to go to do at this job, which I actually didn't do. Did you ever have any of those moments?
I think what you're talking about are the times when you don't fit in your own skin.
Yeah.
When you're about to walk on the same old path you've been walking, and you realize that you are not embodied in that. And I think it's worth sharing a story to you, because when you said angels, and it's not always looking myself in the mirror, but having somebody out of the blue do something that rocks your boat.
Yeah.
So I had a clinic, a rural clinic, for many years, and it was a late Friday evening, and we were exhausted. We'd been working all week, and my receptionist came back at 5:00 with this look on her face that a young man needed to be seen. And I could tell it was psychiatric by the way everybody was acting. And she said he had a lot of trouble and he needed to be seen. Well, the first thing is all the medical stuff goes through your mind. If he's psychotic, I've got to 302, which is involuntarily commit him. I'm out in the boondocks. How do I find a place to take him? How do I transport him there? What if he refuses to go? What if he's suicidal? How long do I sit with him? All of these medical things. And as we sat down, you want to talk about an angel. When I reflect on this young man, he was beatific. He was cherub. He was cherubim. And he started talking about how every night he would have dreams that would come true. And he would see people and know what was about to happen in their future. And of course, the medical model would say, you're psychotic, you're delirious, these are delusions of grandeur, you need to be locked up. Mm. And that's when I didn't have a mirror in front of me, but all of a sudden, that is when I did not fit in that skin. I did not fit in that typical, and I thought, I'm going to do all this, declare him delusional. There is no amount of medicine that is going to fix him. There is no amount of traditional prescription medicine. I said, his trouble is all of society is telling him that his intuitive gifts are phony or fake or not real. And I think I can reassure him and take away his anxiety just by saying, you are not crazy. And that was when I did not fit in the body that was going to down the traditional road for all the answers. Mm. And he changed my life. And I believe he was an important messenger sent to me.
Wow. Wow. I love the evolution of what you're talking about, your story, not only that, your journey, but the wherewithal to be able to see that something different is happening. And that's why you do what you do and I do what I do. We're going to take a very short break for those of you out there. Today, I'm so thrilled to introduce you to Maximum Medicine Radio with Dr. Sharon Martin, bridging the mystical and the scientific for healing. And by the way, this is going to be a regular show on Transformation Talk Radio, so lots more you're going to hear from Doc Martin. When we come back, we're going to take this journey down the pathway that many of us do. And that is when spirit taps us on the shoulder, or sometimes with a 2x4. What do we do? How do we do it? And what do we envision for our lives? When we come back, we're going to be talking about that with Doc Martin. I'm Dr. Pat. We'll be right back.
Tune in to The Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit JenRoyster.com for more information.
Do you want the knowledge and wisdom to understand where spirituality, science, and psychology intersect? Then join the Karmic Path Radio Show with Tina and Laura on TransformationTalkRadio.com Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific. Follow this charmingly, disarmingly dynamic duo as they explore how psychic ability, spirituality, and karmic law tie together. For more information on Tina, Laura, and their groundbreaking work, visit thekarmicpath.com.
Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Steffen each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show will have you thinking outside the box and riding the wave of infinite potential. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. Visit TheTruthIsFunny.com.
Are you ready to finally feel empowered and knowledgeable in your political stance? Let Marcia Padilla-Goad educate you on exactly how important grassroots advocacy is in a relatable way to all perspectives. Tune in to Grassroots Advocacy Radio with Marcia every first Tuesday of the month at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Visit DynamicsInPublicAffairs.com.
Are you feeling stuck in unhealthy habits, toxic relationships, or low self-esteem? Do you crave a healthy relationship filled with inspiration? You might just be on the verge of attracting your soulmate. Tune in each month to The Laura Richer Show, where dating coach Laura Richer and co-host matchmaker Peggy Bennett share tools for using your dating breakdown for a relationship breakthrough. For more information, visit richerhealinghypnosis.com.
Is traditional medicine not working for you? Do you still feel as if your health isn't 100%? Here at the Holistic Medical Center, Dr. Nushin Darvish and the qualified staff look through the dimensions of wellness and start a healing plan prioritized to your needs. Our physicians assess the whole you until complete health is achieved. Get the help you need by visiting drdarvish.com. or call 425-451-0404.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's so great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. And one of the things I love is, I got to tell you, I'm very excited about our lineup. What we like to think about is spring is busting out all over, and it certainly is here at Transformation Talk Radio. Doc Martin is one of those people that I'm referring to. You are going to hear a lot from her, and one of the ways you're going to be able to do it is find out more from her website, social media. But, before we take on this next question, Doc Martin, tell us how folks can find out more about you.
My website is www.sharonmartinmd.com. And it has all about the radio show, about the services, about my journey as a shamanic healer and a traditional physician. And I think you'll find a lot there, and that there's a Facebook page of the same, SharonMartinMD.com.
Thank you. And lots more to come. This is our introductory episode. And the reason it's introductory is because I think it's important, for people to have a backdrop of who we are. I mean, one of the things I've started to hear recently from our listeners is about me. It's, man, we get to know so much about everybody you bring on. Are you ever going to do a show, Pat, and just tell us more about your story? And I think we actually are thinking about that, but I never think about that. It's not my calling. It's not my purpose. What I love doing is I love discovering who you are and what you're going to do to help our listeners. This next part is one of the most important parts I think we're going to talk about. And by the way, it's the one thing that in the survey our listeners said they want much, much more of. And that is a conversation about spirit. And how does spirit inform? How does spirit come to us? How does spirit help shape who we are? How does spirit help shape our vision? And you, I know, have so many of those stories, but one of them in particular I know of has really been pivotal for you. Let's talk about your connection with spirit, your dialogue with spirit, and how spirit helped guide you even beyond what you've already shared to be the person you are today.
I think that we all have the capacity to tap in, to open up and see what we say beyond the veils. I was always seeing things when I was younger, having knowings. There are people who are clairvoyant. They can see, and they can see auras, or clairaudient. They hear something. I get this knowing, and I get a knowing, and sometimes I'll see the words go across behind my eyes. But even when I was younger, I knew that I had come to the earth. I felt very old when I was younger. And my family, as many of our families are, was a total mess of psychosocial dynamics, a complete mess. And I remember one time I was 11 or 12, stopping and looking at my family, being somewhat out of body, feeling very old, like a wise old person, and saying to God or whoever was up there, "What have you done? Like, how did I land here?" But as it's so easy, and we do this all the time as we go through our lives, well, I'm this way because my mother wasn't this, or I'm this way because my father wasn't that. But the truth is, we do use the role of spirit, and I'll say that broadly because we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. Biologically, our genetic imprints, our family traits, the dynamics that set up the school from which we learn. I mean, I wouldn't be who I am if I didn't have the psychodrama I grew up with.
No kidding.
It opens you up because it's also a way to contrast. You get to see what you're pretty sure you don't want to do, or you see healing ways through it. One of my siblings is a mediator, and because of our family dynamics. So I think if we stop and recognize that we are exactly where we were supposed to be. I happen to my personal philosophy and metaphysical philosophy is that we reincarnate, number one, and that we come in with souls with whom we were together many, many times. I believe we have lessons to learn from those interactions. So I do believe spirit informs our journey. I believe it's even as simple as saying we were born exactly where we were supposed to have been born, from in the parentage that we were born. And then from that place, we pick and choose how we're going to morph that and expand that and grow that.
When I think about this, I think about, how like you're in high school or in junior high school, and they all write stuff in your book, right? People, you take this little book, and I don't really have a lot of that. But being where I am today and doing what I'm doing today was not in that book, right?
Right.
There wasn't that version of it. What would you say has been one of the most important actions that you took in your life, given the conversations with spirit, given the vision? Because I think, Doc Martin, I think that we get to these crossroads, and I don't mean like major crossroad every 20 years because the planets aligned, right? But I think there are these little points in time, these little decisions that we make, and sometimes they're bigger, where you stop and you say, I'm about to make a decision about something. I know it's important, but I don't know exactly where it's going to go, right?
I think one of the major choice points for me that steered my life in a growing fashion is I read Alberto Villoldo's book, Shaman, Healer, and Sage.
Yeah.
And when I saw his picture on the front cover, it was his eyes. I got a zing. Now, you don't have to go off and do the training for 4 Winds. I don't believe that that's the only place you can go to expand. There are many places for you to learn more, to grow bigger, many teachers. For me, it happened to be this, and as it turns out, which is very interesting, he trained with some of the shamans from Peru who were connected to an anthropologist in Bolivia, whose relative my grandmother in 1963, when she lived in Bolivia, got jewelry from, because the woman was a jeweler. So here is this South American link that I'm pretty sure was being steered from behind the veils. But for any training you take, my feeling is it is to open those belief systems, crack open the box that you're living in where you say, well, I can only do this, or that's not possible. That's someone else. That's over there. Alberto's training for me in the 4 Winds did several things that I think can be done elsewhere, but that are he does it beautifully, by the way. He's a master teacher. Shift your perspective. See it from a different way, teaching you to discipline yourself to look at it different ways, because that shakes you out of your rut. It also allowed me to, and I'm not very good at having quiet time. I'm a mover, I'm a doer. So, meditation is phenomenal. I can't sit still long enough to do much of it. But having processes that he taught us that would quiet you and allow you to hear spirit talking, that quieting is so important. Prayer, meditation, even as Thich Nhat Hanh would say, a walking meditation. I'm not very good at sitting on a cushion. I'm not good at it. I'll be the first to admit it. But something to allow your human mind to quiet down, to hear the trickling up, and they come from your ancestors, your guardians, spirit. Allow that voice to be stronger and stronger, and be willing to say, no, wait, is this really true? Who says? Who says? It's even in diagnoses in the medical world. I have many patients who have defined their entire life based on a diagnosis. They are only this because they have X, Y, or Z. And I will say, that you are not your diagnosis. Yes, it's limited you. Yes, it's challenged you, but you do not have to hold your psyche and your awareness and your spiritual path in that box.
Wow. Part of this today is why we're talking with you. Because when we're talking about, or we're referencing what I do believe now is going to be the conversation for this next decade, it is the conversation that is truly about medicine, but a very new narrative that's very old. In your terms, maximum medicine. We're going to take a short break, everyone. When we come back, we're going to take a journey with Doc Martin and go down that new narrative, talk about what is healing today and what is the future of healing, which actually takes us back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. If you think about it, how does a species survive without discovering a few things along the way that has nothing to do with social media? How does that happen? When we come back, we're going to talk about healing. What is it? What have we learned about it? And what is the vision for maximum medicine? Stay tuned, everyone. We'll be right back.
How many times do you find yourself saying, "It was nothing"? Next time someone tells you great job, you'll know how to accept it and not deflect it by listening to Courage to be Seen Radio with host Sherry Clark. Sherry Clark is an experienced global engineering leader, coach, and mentor. From her experiences one-on-one coaching to corporate consulting and executive coaching, Sherry has learned many women need at least 3 things to discover and face success. Learn about the ACES program, how to survive male-dominated fields with grace and authenticity, and reach the top without ever once giving up on who you are. Courage to be Seen host Sherry Clark explores the awesome power of your entire self. Check out her website, CourageToBeSeen.com, and listen to the first Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. Pacific with host Sherry Clark. You have the courage to be seen. See you later.
Are you new to playing with the law of attraction or a seasoned pro looking for an easy and organized way to monitor your co-creation endeavors as you draw them from the immaterial planes into your physical reality? Then join me over at goldenotter.us for bi-monthly new and full moon rituals where we plant seeds of intention, then harvest the fruits of our desires as part of a dynamic community in the members-only Lunar Manifestations Forum. I'm Autumn Seibel, host of Golden Otter Radio, where the metaphysical meets the mainstream, and I can't wait to meet you.
What is holding you back from living the life you are meant to live? Why is it vital to believe in something bigger than yourself? Are you in physical or emotional pain? Tune in monthly to Vibrant Purposeful Living. Awaken the vibrant life within you with Lou Paradise and Dr. Pat on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Lou's passion is to help everyone experience positive solutions for life. Find out more about Lou with Vibrant Purposeful Living at LouParadise.com.
The Knowledge Book, currently studied in 39 countries and 15 languages around the world, accelerates our evolution, takes us out of depression, offers universal truth, protects us, and makes us stronger, both spiritually and physically. So if you are interested in the Knowledge Book, visit usa.theknowledgebook.net and tune in to the Knowledge Book Radio with Marge Potasic on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Interested in deepening your spiritual practice? The School for Esoteric Studies offers online training to spiritual seekers from all paths of life and individual coaching. Our courses synthesize Eastern and Western spiritual traditions based on meditation, study, and service applied to everyday life. To learn more about our courses and services, please visit www.esotericstudies.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. It's great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. You know, part of what we're talking about today, but it's also an introduction to Dr. Sharon Martin, Doc Martin, as we like to call her, because the body of work that she is doing and what her vision is for the world and the work that she's doing every day is really under what we are calling today maximum medicine. And this is Maximum Medicine Radio. It's about bridging the mystical and scientific for healing. Today, we're sharing what her journey was like. You know, what is it that gets each and every one of us to show up in the world the way we show up? No judgment about that. You know, it's not good, it's not bad. But what really captivates us to call forward in each and every one of us some action that puts us on a trajectory that maybe we could see, but maybe not. Doc Martin, before we kind of go and talk a little bit about, well, a lot about healing and the vision, how can folks find out more about you, more about the work you do, how they could work with you directly? What is the best way to do that?
I think the best contact point would be through my website, www.sharonmartinmd.com. And that tells you about everything you need to know. And it's got my email there, and I would love to hear from you. And even if you have questions, please just connect. There's Facebook under the same, SharonMartinMD.com. And anyway, that'll be a great way to get started.
I love it. Thank you. And you're going to hear lots more from Doc Martin in subsequent weeks and months, and lots more coming your way. I want to get back to this question of healing. I did not have a good definition for myself of healing until I got very, very sick with the mystery disease in 2004. And that actually changed the whole trajectory of my life. It changed what I was doing. And basically the only thing I could do was spend a lot of money buying airtime and didn't know why, but I knew I was meant to do it. Here we are today. I have a different view of healing because I discovered things along the way. You have created something that is so absolutely special, but also represents the future that many people are looking at, and it's maximum medicine. But it opens the door for a conversation about what healing means to you, Doc Martin.
Yes, let's talk about that. But let me just say, put in the back of your mind, Pat, I want to come back to that event in 2004 that changed your destiny line. So we'll come back to that in just a minute. So when you talk about, we talked earlier about how on this late Friday night and an exhausted afternoon, this angel came to my practice, unknown to me, this young man, I believe an angelic message to me, who made me literally see with different eyes. And that began my journey. I was trained traditional medicine, strict academic ladders all the way, taught at Emory University, medical school at Johns Hopkins University. I mean, wonderful to be surrounded by the smartest of the smart and learning everything, but it didn't have the fullness. And it's wonderful. I am not downing traditional medicine at all. We need the science when we need it. But there are cures, and then there's healing.
Yeah.
You can go for cures when you have a bad infection and you need an antibiotic. You have appendicitis and you need surgery. You aim for a cure with cancer, but that may not always happen. So for me, healing became the bigger paradigm, the bigger goal for people, because you can have a diagnosis, you can have a challenge and still feel full, feel connected to the world around you, in good relationships with the people around you, with a good sense of your soul purpose and journey. And that's what I call healed. When you are living full, even in the setting of physical limitations, a diagnosis. For me, I broke my legs, my ankles, so I don't always walk stably. That has nothing to do with how full do you feel? How present are you? How can you take this human journey and make it the biggest and the best you can be? And for me, that's what healing is all about. I remember, I'll share a story with a man, an older man who came to me, who had been my patient for many years. And his wife had recently died. In fact, she had chest pain. She refused to let him call the ambulance. So he had to drive 20 miles to the hospital. And by the time he arrived, she had already died in the car. Very sad and hard to be that person in the car next to someone like that. Yeah. But over the next several weeks, I said, how are you managing? And then something said, he still sees her. And I said, tell me. I said, many people have these experiences where they still see their spouse. They still hear them. They still feel them. And all of a sudden he broke down in tears because he didn't realize that what he was experiencing, number one, that it was okay to talk about, and number two, that other people did it. He'd walk past the closet, he'd smell violets, which was her favorite. He'd go out to the living room, and the picture that they had from when they were childhood sweethearts, maybe high school, which was in a cupboard somewhere, was standing on the counter, stood up in the living room.
Wow.
I mean, that is, for him, he was given the space to talk about that. He was given the opening. Was he cured from his grief? No. And that would take a while. but did he receive some measure of healing in being allowed to say, you're not alone, you're not crazy, this stuff happens, and now I want you to tell me about it. And so when he told me these woo-woo things and he was he was Christian, very fundamental type, but he was allowed to talk, had a space to talk about it. And I think it made a difference. I think it lifted him. So those are the kinds of things that I believe the maximum medicine is all about, is all of the facets that can come together to help you get over a challenge of being human. We're going to have grief. We're going to have accidents. We're going to have illness. We're going to struggle with our family of origin. Oh, brother, we know about that.
Yeah, we do.
And we can still be fuller and bigger and maximum.
Yeah. This is part of why this show and what you're talking about is so important, because we have a view of medicine. We have a view of cure. We have a view of what to do when we break a leg. But we still have much to learn about the power of healing, and the power of healing from within, and the power of healing. So many stories we can talk about how someone, one of my favorites is Joel Osteen's mother, and the story of her being given, 3 weeks to live. They were planning her funeral, and she refused to contemplate that, terminal ill diagnosis of cancer. And what she did and this is, again, a Christian tradition. Everybody has a different tradition, but praying. And she did it in a way that rather than her funeral, they could not find anything. And I reflect upon that story because mine is a bit similar, right? There are things that happen to us that we cannot explain in the way sometimes medicine wants us to explain it. So I want to ask you about that. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take a journey down the pathway of the purpose of maximum medicine. And then, of course, definitely, I didn't forget, we will get back to your question about my mystery disease. Doc Martin, everybody, I'm Dr. Pat. We will be right back.
It's time to get your life back on Burn Bright Today with Jennifer Marcinelli. Tune in each month on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Learn to move from the darkness of burning out to the light of burning bright. Jennifer is redefining stress and the energetic causes of burnout, shining a light on process to get your life back. For more information about Jennifer and her work, visit burnbrighttoday.com.
Stuck in a roundabout of dysfunction? Stop circling around difficult issues and find out what's been holding you back. Learn how to speak your truth to power with host Dr. Kathy Obear. Create real change with smart tools and smart strategies. No frills, no fluff, just life-changing conversations to help get you where you want to be. Extend your reach and become an agent for real change with Kathy Obear. For more information on Kathy and her work, please visit drkathyobear.com. That's drkathyobear.com.
Do you want the knowledge and wisdom to understand where spirituality, science, and psychology intersect? Then join the Karmic Path Radio Show with Tina and Laura on TransformationTalkRadio.com Thursdays at 4 p.m. Pacific. Follow this charmingly, disarmingly dynamic duo as they explore how psychic ability, spirituality, and karmic law tie together. For more information on Tina, Laura, and their groundbreaking work, visit thekarmicpath.com.
People often ask, what does it mean to thrive? On Thrive by Jen Radio, it means body confidence, mind fulfillment, and soul synchronicity. Create synchronicity with God and learn as Jen shares action steps and real stories that will inspire you to be unstoppable in fulfilling your purpose. Tune in live each Monday at 8 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com and visit JenniferZellup.com to thrive with Jen.
On the cutting edge of the new mainstream, Christine Upchurch is passionate about bringing together science, psychology, and spirituality in a way that can be applied to our everyday lives for true transformation. The Christine Upchurch Show, stellar conversations to illuminate your journey, engages some of the most outstanding visionaries on the planet in lively dialogue to inspire you to become that bright light you're meant to be. Join Christine every Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific Time on KKNW, AM 1150, and Transformation Talk Radio.
Tune in to People Like Us Radio with Megan Lyons, transcending the trauma of the human experience. Megan will be raising the universal consciousness by empowering listeners with their own inner strength, working past trauma and abuse. Megan will show you how to find true healing and inner peace through the art and practice of self-love. Tune in every first and third Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. For more information about Megan and her work, visit EnterTheLightLLC.com.
Everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm so thrilled to introduce you, to somebody that's going to be with us for a really long time, Dr. Sharon Martin. We call her Doc Martin. Her show is Maximum Medicine Radio. It really is about mystical and scientific. It's bridging that, but bridging it for one purpose, for the purpose of healing. Today we're going to talk now about, Doc Martin, we're going to talk about the purpose of Maximum Medicine. I mean, there was a reason you said yes to sharing what you've learned with the world, to coming out here, to speaking with our listeners, to really fully stepping out and saying, I've got a message, right? And so let's talk about what that purpose of Maximum Medicine is. And, we are also going to be welcoming callers in future shows. So tell us about this vision you have for the show, for Maximum Medicine.
Well, it's interesting because when you were saying that, I was getting this picture that happened to me in my training, and I call it the priest cult. It's the way many doctors talk to you with these big, long-fangled words, and it's like a secret, a big secret, and you get the little bits and pieces of it as a patient, but mostly they hold the secret and the magic.
Yeah.
I am so not with that. And I think that probably, if I should share a little woo-woo part, that's probably a past life of mine, because I believe I was literally in a priest cult culture, I should say, not a cult. But nothing is worse than them holding all the magic and the power to themselves. So for me, Maximum Medicine Radio is about how can you, each person, each listener, really own your power? I believe, and as you said, we're going to see it in the next decade. I think we are on a journey to find out that we as humans have an unbelievable potential we haven't even tapped, that we have forgotten about. It's not that we have to learn new stuff. We have to erase or take away the blinders. That power lays inside of each of us. And my job, my sole mission is to help you access that, help you believe in yourself enough to take it forward. And as you said, when you have people who hear a diagnosis and therefore they surrender to it and believe that they can't be anything else, how to say, wait a second, no way. I am more. I am bigger. I am. And that's what, to me, healing is. And that's what my show is going to be about. We'll share a few topics. Next time, we're going to talk about the energy field, because that is where I believe the power of our future in medicine really lies. One of the places, obviously, but the energy field. And what does that mean for our physical and spiritual and human journey, how we can access it. And then down the road in different episodes, I would love to hear from people what their challenges are and process it with them. process it through the different levels, the physical, the emotional, the spiritual, and then turn it over to the bigger cheeses up there, wherever they are. That's what I'm hoping this show's all about.
I love that we're talking about this, because what it reminds me of, it reminds me of visiting back and reading some old stories, books, and thousands of years ago, people were great storytellers. Even hundreds of years ago, we were great storytellers. So it was great stories about how people miraculously healed. I think what we're learning now, and certainly going to learn from you when you open up the door to talk about energy, is there's something so powerful in the future of energy and energy medicine, and especially in the realm of the fact that we're barely using 10% of our brains at the moment.
Right.
It's really uncomprehendable to imagine what would happen, what the possibilities would be if we could discover those parts of ourselves. Would there be anything that we wouldn't be able to take care of, to solve, clear the earth, you name it? Isn't it exciting?
It is exciting. And I think there's part of us as humans that's scared to allow ourselves to be that big, because I think we do have the potential. I think the earth itself has an intelligence that, even though we have all these things happening with the climate and we see bad news out there, I think there is an intelligence running through that's working, that is going to help us overcome so much. So I think you're right. I think we haven't even scratched the surface.
Well, I have to say, it's very exciting about what you're bringing to all of us, right? I want to ask you, thank you for today. Thank you for what's to come. Please tell us, what is your personal message? What would you like to leave us with today?
We are bigger. We are bigger than we've ever believed. And we have power. And when we link up with the unseen world, the spirit world, which is directly connected to our soul, there's nothing we can't do. And we all struggle with that because of our lack of confidence and our belief structures, but we are maximum and we can be fuller and bigger.
In future shows, thank you for that, Doc Martin. In the future shows, we will be opening up the phone lines. Tell our listeners a little bit about what your vision is for that.
I would love to have someone call in and say, Doc, I struggle with X, Y, and Z. And then I have a medicine bundle that I truly earned it in the Peruvian tradition, and open that up and see what hits I get and help the person process and ask Spirit to give me some messages to help them. And I think those guidances will be appropriate for all listeners. I don't think it's going to be just to that particular listener, but I would love to share that.
Yeah, no, my experience in doing this 15 years is one caller seems to be able to capture the consciousness of thousands. It's a phenomenon that I certainly don't know how to explain, but it really is a phenomenon of consciousness, group healing. And thank you so much for saying yes to sharing your gifts, your talents, your wisdom through Maximum Medicine Radio. Thank you, Doc Martin, for that.
Thank you, Dr. Pat. Wonderful to be here with you.
Lots more to come from Doc Martin. And I want to make sure that you all make sure you go take a look at the website that we talk about for her, which is SharonMartinMD.com, SharonMartinMD.com. And when you get there, not only are you going to find out more information about who she is in the world, but what she offers folks to help truly deepen our experience of life and heal in many, many, many dimensions. Thank you, Doc Martin. Thanks for everything today.
Thank you, Dr. Pat. Wonderful.
Awesome stuff. Benny, thank you so much for pushing all the right buttons. And Carter, thank you for rolling the film. For all of you, please make sure that you remember at least one thing you've heard today. You are more powerful than you can imagine. Doc Martin's going to help shine a light on that. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to Maximum Medicine Radio with Doc Martin. Tune in next time while the doc talks health, spirituality, and the impact your beliefs have on every part of who you are, body and soul. Doc Martin unpacks the challenges we face as human beings and teaches callers to open the door between the scientific and the mystical. Expand into your multidimensional self. Learn how beliefs can set you free or keep you caged in mediocre health. To learn more about Doc Martin and Maximum Medicine, visit www.sharonmartinmd.com.